I have some gardening updates for you. Yesterday, I planted some of the sunflowers in pots. I've never planted sunflowers in pots before, only in the ground. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I thought it would look really nice on my deck if there were 2 baskets of big tall sunflowers growing by the end of the summer. So we'll see what happens. Now, I had 10 sunflower seeds and I planted 6 where I could see the sprouts coming up through the earth. So we had 10 and I planted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is how many are left. 1, 2, 3, 4. 10 minus 6 is 4. Now I don't see any sprouts coming out of these tubes. Maybe those seeds aren't going to work, but maybe they're just going to take a little bit longer. It's okay to be different. So I'm going to set this bucket back on the windowsill in the other room, and maybe in the next week, we'll get some more to pop up through. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. Do you remember when I showed you my rhubarb plant in my garden? That was the video where we were talking about being present, and I showed you some of the little creatures that I saw in the earth when I was digging. And my rhubarb plant was the first thing to sprout up in the garden this year. Take a look, maybe you'll remember. Rhubarb is a food. We don't eat the green leafy leaves, but instead, can you see those red stalks in there? Oh, I can't wait till this grows bigger and bigger. I'm gonna cut the big red stalks when they grow long and make a delicious rhubarb cake. Yum, yum, yum. Okay. Here is the rhubarb I cut out of my garden to make a cake with. The part that we eat on the rhubarb is the stem. So this is the long stem. This part down here was connected to the root system at the ground to drink up the water. And up here on the top was the big leafy green part. But I cut that off and put it in my composter because we do not eat the leaves, just the stalks. So next I will cut up this rhubarb and add it to my cake batter with flour and eggs and baking powder and make a delicious cake. Here is my recipe. It says lunar rhubarb cake, mom's specialty. You know my mom Diane, she made this cake for us growing up and it was always a treat when rhubarb was in season. Here are the bowls that I'm mixing ingredients in and some flour. And here's the batter. It's almost ready to go into the pan. Now my rhubarb cake is done. I made a delicious peach and ginger tea. And I have my cake here with the rhubarb inside. I'm gonna give it a try. See how this cake tastes. Rhubarb lunar cake, just like Mom used to make. That is delicious. It tastes just like Mom made, and it's still warm from the oven. That is fantastic. I'm going to take another bite, and then let's read our story for today. The Balloon Tree. Really? Yes. Written and illustrated by Phoebe Gilman. I think Mumford likes this book too. Here we go. I hope you like the illustrations. That means the pictures. I think they're so great. Long, long ago and far away across a wide ocean, there was a small, happy kingdom. In a big castle at the top of its highest hill lived the king and his daughter, Princess Leora. Princess Leora loved playing and singing and dancing, but most of all, she loved balloons. The castle was always full of them. Then one day messengers came with an invitation for the king. His Majesty, the great King of Kelowna, invites your Majesty to a royal tournament. Please bring your bravest knights. Can I come too? Princess Leora asked. Not this time, but I won't be gone long, and your uncle will look after things here. I want you to help him. Not the Archduke, Princess Leora said. I don't like him. He's grumpy and he never plays games. And what will I do if something goes wrong? Don't worry, said the king. You can always signal me. Just gather a bunch of your balloons and release them from the tower. Wherever I am, I will see them and come home right away. He kissed his daughter goodbye and rode off. As soon as the king had gone, the Archduke rushed in with the meanest guards in the kingdom. At last, the chance I've been waiting for. Now I will be the king. Guards, lock the princess in her room and destroy all of her horrible balloons. Destroy every balloon in the kingdom. Pop, wham, kablam. Princess Leora could hear the sound of balloons popping everywhere. How could she signal her father if she had no balloons? But there was something the Archduke did not know about. A secret passage that led to the chamber of Leora's friend, the wizard. Quickly, she slipped through a small opening behind a curtain and entered a dark, twisting stairway inside the walls of the castle. At last she came to the wizard's chamber. You must help me, whispered Princess Leora. Quickly she told the wizard what the evil Archduke had done. There is only one thing to do, said the wizard. Find one whole balloon. Before the next sunrise, plant it under the tree in the courtyard and say these magic words. Moon balloon, tickle the tree. 4 balloons, more balloons, blossom for me. The sun was setting as Princess Leora slipped through the castle gates to begin her search. She visited the richest lord in the city, but all of his balloons had been broken. She asked the butcher, she asked the baker, she asked the old toy maker, but no one had any balloons. She looked through dark alleys. She hunted in the empty marketplace and knocked on every door. At last, dawn was near, and there was nowhere else to look. Sadly, Princess Leora sat down by a small cottage. The little boy who lived there heard her and came to the window. Princess Leora, what are you doing out here in the dark? He asked. When the princess told him why she had to find a balloon before morning, a strange look came over his face. I can help you, he said. He ran off inside and came right back with a balloon. When I heard all the balloons popping, I hid my last one at the back of my closet. I wanted to keep it, but you need it more than I do. Isn't that kind that he shared with her? What a nice put-up. Princess Leora thanked the boy and ran back through the empty marketplace, past the stores of the butcher and the baker and the old toy maker, past the rich lord's house and through the castle gates. The moon was just beginning to fade when she came to the tree in the courtyard. She knelt down to it, dug a hole, and planted the balloon inside. Then she said the magic words. Moon balloon, tickle the tree. 4 balloons, more balloons, blossom for me. Suddenly, the tree began to quiver. Tiny balloons blossomed on it and began to grow bigger and rounder. Princess Leora reached up to touch one, and hundreds came floating down. More and more balloons blossomed from the tree until they filled the whole courtyard. As the sun rose, they drifted through the gate. People leaned from their windows and rushed into the streets, shouting and pointing and laughing. Pop those balloons, the Archduke shouted to his men, but whenever they tried, the magical balloons whizzed away. Before long, the whole city was filled with balloons. All the shopkeepers had to close their doors. All the chickens had to fly their coops. All the traffic had to stop. Still, the tree kept blossoming. All the workers had to play. All the schools had to close. Balloons were everywhere. Still, the tree kept blossoming. The Archduke jumped up and down with rage when he saw his guards couldn't pop the balloons. He rushed at the tree with his spear, but suddenly a balloon blossomed on its point, and he bounced right back on his bottom. Just then a balloon burst forth from the end of every spear. Madder than ever, the Archduke ran after Princess Leora, shouting, "I'll get you for this!" Far away, the king was riding through a dark forest when he saw a balloon caught in a tree. He thought that was a strange place for a balloon to be, but when he came to the edge of the forest, he saw something even stranger. His whole kingdom was filled with thousands and millions and zillions of balloons. "Leora!" the king gasped. "She must be in great danger. Back to the castle at once." When the king galloped into the courtyard, he could see the Archduke screaming at the princess. "You spoiled everything," he was shouting at her. "It isn't fair. I want to be king." "Princess Leora was right about you, you traitor," the king thundered. "Knights, put the Archduke and his men right where they belong, in the dungeon." Then the king invited everyone in the kingdom to the biggest party there had ever been. The people played and danced and sang. Princess Leora opened the royal treasure chest and gave everyone a present. The balloon tree stopped blossoming as the moon rose, but the party went on and on into the night. All of the people stayed up past their bedtime. As for the Archduke and his men, they were in the dungeon for a long, long time, but they were never bored. They were kept very busy, blowing up balloons.